Hello, welcome to Dungeon Rose Podcast. I'm Rose Justin. Today we're reviewing the Image comic book series Wetworks by... Let me double check the guy's name. I thought this was a comic book by Brendan Choi and Jim Lee, but it's actually by Whilce Portacio. That's him right there. I don't know how to pronounce this name. I think he's Puerto Rican. The first book is by Whilce Portacio. He does the plot and pencils, and Brendan Choi did the plot and dialogue, which he gets replaced by some guy named Takanaga. He's another Asian creator at Image. So this is the free page cover for Wetworks, which I think is a spin-off of Team 7, another comic book series by Image, which your boy Zach was said that was his favorite series by Image, or like he liked the artwork. So the Wetworks team is Grail. That's him right there. That's Dozer, who doesn't look like that anymore in the comic. There's Colonel Dane, the leader. There's Mother 1, who is an outsider of the team. She wasn't a member of Team 7. She joined later. She's part cyborg, and she has like a laser battle system. That right there is Jester, and that's Claymore. They don't have the other members of the team like Flat Top, Crossbones, and the Pilgrim, who's another female on the team. So this comic book series, which I have I'm reviewing all first 9 issues. Here's issue 2. Here's issue 3, when Grail unlocks his power. Issue 4. Issue 5, where you see Grifter. Wildcats shows up in this series alongside Deathblow, who's like a mercenary character. Here's issue 6. Issue 7, issue 8 with Wildcats as part of some crossover event called Wildstorm Rising, part 7. There's Grifter and Deathblow. Deathblow is pouring gasoline on a Damonite. And here's issue 9. You can see some collectible card game, Image collectible card game. So I'll just show the first. I'll just show the first issue here. So the story of this comic book is basically, I'll show you the interior work. You have these guys called Team 7. I don't want to show you them naked. You have these guys named Team 7 who get sent on a mission by I.O., which is International Operations. Right? Which they kind of forget about the guy who, led... There's this guy named Craven who sends them on basically a suicide mission to kill vampires in Transylvania, right? Where at first they think they're going up against, an extremist group in Transylvania. There's like a civil war there, right? While they're there, they encounter these golden vats with this golden goop, which one of them gets infected by. It's like a symbiote liquid metal armor, right? And they were also given explosives that were timed and they were set to explode. So the only way they could save themselves if the rest of them took the other symbiote suits, right? And Mother One was part of the group that was sent. She infiltrated the group that was sent to kill them, right? But she joins them, right? And yeah, they basically Team 7 gets recruited to basically join this guy named Warren, who is this werewolf who let me show the Blood Queen, who is allied with the Blood Queen. There's a civil war going on. Here's some action shots. There's a civil war going on in the vampire world or whatever, the Night Tribes, where there's other beings besides vampires, like werewolves, right? There's Dane. Oh, and by the way, my friend E.T. Templar was going to review this this comic book, but he never got around to it. So I hope he doesn't mind that I'm reviewing this series. There's a cool pin-up there. There's I.O. Yeah, this is the Craven guy who sent them on the mission. That's him right there. They just forget about him. For some reason, I don't know. Trying to find the issue where, yeah, I can't find the issue of the Blood Queen. Right? But yeah, so like what's going on is basically, yeah, they get recruited by this werewolf named Warren, who is allied with the Blood Queen, who's getting opposed by this vampire named Draken, right? This was a cool issue where by Draken, right? Who wants to take over the vampire world so they can conquer humanity, right? And the Blood Queen just wants to not live with humanity, but just, live in the shadows, right? And turns out they go on a mission in this comic book. They go on a mission to take out vampires that attack some concert by this band called Johnny Savoy and the Living Vampires. It turns out the Living Vampire, the band is the leader of the band is the brother of the Blood Queen. So they end up saving vampires in this issue, which that was cool. Which also Grail gets his powers. Yeah, the symbiotes unlock powers from the different team members. Pilgrim can turn invisible because she's like the stealthy one. Dozer turns into a giant, which to the point where he couldn't move anymore because his body got too big. He couldn't move anymore, so they put him inside this giant robot in the last issue, right? See if I can. Oh, there's the Blood Queen right there. What's she doing there? I don't know, but yeah, let's see if I can find. There's Dozer when he finally gets his giant robot suit. Yeah. He basically turns into like a Dreadnought from Warhammer 40k. But I guess he's bigger than a Dreadnought. He's like the size of a Titan, which is a giant weapons platform. This kind of reminds me of the giant robot from BattleTech. What's the one? Oh, I can't remember. Yeah. Yeah, this cover is not so great. Yeah, so like so the story is basically you have these these army guys with metal skins that all have their unique powers. Well, some of them die before they can use their powers, but yeah. So and there's also you get to learn some of the history of the Blood Queen and the Vampire Night Tribes. It's kind of like they kind of steal from Vampire the Masquerade, where like you have werewolves that are like the servants of vampires, and like there's also like vampires that are like human bats that are called frenzied vampires that have like lost self-control. So that you have like other vampires called beastmasters that control the frenzied vampires, right? So my problem, I'll just go into my likes and dislikes. Likes, I kind of like the art. There's lots of action. And like I said, the art's cool. The covers are cool. There's a lot of rule of cool there for people, and I kind of like that. Okay, it's not. When I read the preview for Wetworks, they were just going up against like mercenaries, which would have been kind of like boring. But like for them to go after vampires and monsters, that's kind of cool. My dislikes: the characters are pretty. A lot of the characters are one-dimensional. You have Jester, who's like the funny one. You have like who's alcoholic. You have Claymore, who's the silent but like smart one. You have like Grail, who's like the vain one, who he wears a mask so he doesn't get hurt. And you have Colonel Dane, who's like your typical leader who has a lot on his shoulders. Pilgrim is like the female soldier with a lot to prove. And Dozer and some of the other characters you don't really get to know because Dozer, once his body starts growing, a lot of the issues he can't move, right, until like his suit is done. So he's basically left at the headquarters. Though like Grail gives him this like sphere that he put in his body. So that gives like Dozer the ability to produce like these glowing spheres that he can use for reconnaissance and can communicate with people, right? I think that's supposed to be Claymore. I'm not 100% sure. Kind of looks like Dozer before, like when he lost his hair, but he was never. He didn't really attend a lot of the missions, and like you also have this girl who is Mother One, who's basically like a cyborg who's very robotic in her way of speaking. In the last issue, they kind of gave her some personality, which just came out of nowhere, right? Which that came out of that just came out of nowhere. My dislikes for the book, like I said, is you have the one-dimensional characters. Two, I really like team-ups, but I kind of hate when you have team-ups where characters show up at the end of a book, and then when you get the next book, right, which happened here in issue 4 and 5, they quickly leave. They show up and then they quickly leave at the start of the next book. So it's like, wow, man, you're like, what a waste, man. It's like they just put them there just to like sell put them so they can put them on the cover and then sell the books. But it's like when Marvel would do that, they would have them for most of the issue, right? Which in this issue, because it's like a crossover event, they do show up for a little bit. Which apparently in this book, Grifter is no longer part of the Wildcats team because they teamed up with this Damonite named Hightower, right? So that was interesting. It kind of makes me want to keep reading Wildcats, but I have to find those issues, right? Yeah, but like honestly, the story and the dialogue for this series is weak. All the book has is rule of cool, And then there's the cool gothic kind of, feel with the vampires. Though I feel like the vampire characters kind of get too much screen time. And at first it was like our characters were going to take on all the vampires, but once they find out, oh yeah, they're working for a vampire, now they're cool with, coexisting with some vampires as long as they get to kill Draken. And then there's the fact that Colonel Dane was going to avenge his team against Craven, the guy from IO who sent him on that suicide mission, and he just completely forgets about that and completely gets consumed with his war against Draken, who's this cowardly vampire leader, which I kind of hate when they do shit like that, because it just makes it frustrating when you have a villain character who's weak, when our characters can take them on and defeat them right away, but there'll always be some last minute bullshit that saves the villain so he can run away, and that happens twice in this series. One when they in issue 4 and 5, when they go to attack Draken, who was I think in issue 4 he was setting up an alliance with the Daemon Knights, so they attack the meeting point so they can kill Draken. But somebody, Craven leaked the intel to the Wildcats, so the Wildcats show up to take out the Daemon Knights, so that leads to those two groups fighting. And then, that happens again in issue 9, so, and several issues, so it's, so annoying, man, when that shit happens. I kind of like a villain who can, stand his ground and fight, but, having this cowardly vampire leader, and villain who can't fight is so fucking annoying, especially when they consider themselves a superior race to humans, but then the guy sees no issue with the fact that he himself can't fight. So I find that dumb. So overall, I would have to give issues 1 through 9 collectively a 6 out of 10. If you like your Rule of Cool and you like your 90s Image comics, check out this series. But do it at a decent price. I paid I paid $15, I think, for all 10 issues, and I think that was not 10, 9 issues, and I think that was worth it. But yeah, I went. If you can find the trades for cheap, I guess I would recommend it. I did see on Wikipedia that there are some trades of this team, but yeah, I don't know if I'm going to try too hard to look for further issues of this team. This book doesn't, like I said, it doesn't really have a lot going for it other than the fact that it looks cool, it looks nice, but other than there's no depth to the story and the characters. It's just real cool. So that's it for this review. My next review is going to be He-Man Masters of the Universe. It's behind One Punch Man over there. And then we'll review Donny Cates' Venom, and then The Spirit by Will Eisner, the 80th anniversary. And that's it. Also, like I said, I don't know if anybody watched the end of my last video, but I said I would go watch the Suicide Squad movie this weekend, review it. Because of financial problems occurred this week because of I got screwed over at the vet. I got screwed over at the vet. Yeah, I also had plans for a comic book haul for Free Comic Book Day, which is on Saturday. I don't really have the I don't really have the money to do both. So if I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to go see the movie or not. But if I do, you'll know by Sunday. If there's no review by Sunday, then I'm probably not going to see the movie, or at least until my next paycheck. Hopefully the movie is still in theaters by next month, but I doubt it, because the way I hear that it's not doing well in the box office. So that's it for